What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So one of the more official games that's happening this fall for USC football is going to be that Michigan game. Is officially set for CBS in a primetime spot at 12:30 p.m. on the West Coast. So yeah, it's going to be there for everybody to see right there smack dab in the middle on that Saturday. I think it would probably be like, the fourth week of the college football season. So yeah, very early. The first Big Ten game for USC as well, and of course it's on the road against the ex-national champions of this last season. So yes, a lot of those guys did leave, so hopefully they're still not as good. But yeah, definitely hope that USC comes out of there with a big-time victory for the first time in the Big Ten. And then the USC men's basketball team officially said they're going to go to the Maui Invitational. Obviously you get like a group of different schools. They all go down there, hang out in Hawaii for about a week, play each other, have a small tournament. You kind of just go there to build up the team chemistry and stuff. I think, of course, they're going to face an ex-Duke player. I think Baylor is down there with Jeremy Roach, but there's also like NC State, Oregon, Seton Hall, Texas, UNLV, and Chaminade, of course. I think that's where the school that they play out there in Hawaii, so they kind of host the whole thing. But either way, looking forward to seeing at least one of my teams go back there. I know it's been a while. Usually Duke was going out there for a bit, but I guess they just kind of stopped because they weren't winning the whole tournament quite frequently. So yes, we'll see where the rest of this postseason goes for that tournament. And then that local 4-star cornerback that's pretty close to me at Corona Centennial recently put out a top 7 of the schools that he has on this list, and of course USC made the cut, and obviously a lot of the guys that are committed to his same class as well are reposting his picture and telling him he knows where home is and where he should go. So yes, a lot of those guys are at least recruiting him to go play at USC too, so that's a pretty good positive thing for USC heading into the recruiting with that one player, the local guy. So yeah, hoping that USC ends up getting pretty talented player close to me. Then with the other bit of news, yes, On3 recruiting rankings, they did recently put them out, and USC is still, of course, at number 3. Haven't really moved up or down. I don't think they've really lost any of the guys that said they're going to be coming to USC yet. They haven't lost any decommits or whatever, but hoping to add a lot more, especially in the month of June, because especially with it's like the end of May, heading into that first weekend of June, and then the next couple weeks after that, it's going to be a big time, visiting with all these top prospects all over the country. So hopefully a couple of those guys will commit around then. So looking forward to that. And then yes, ex-USC running back Reggie Bush apparently is going to be throwing out the first pitch for the LA Dodgers this Friday. So that's pretty cool. Probably would have thought about going if they were giving out something of his, like a t-shirt or a bobblehead, but it looks like they're just throwing him on there as a celebrity person to come in and do it, sadly. So yeah, either way, I'll just watch from Spectrum, Sports Center, whatever the heck the channel is you pay extra for, just to watch both the Lakers and the Dodgers. But yeah, looking forward to that, the ex-USC running back. And then, yeah, there was a lot of talk about Juju Lewis, the quarterback that's committed to USC, and a lot of people are saying that he's not going to be a Trojan, which is pretty funny to me just because they kind of really have nothing to talk about him because, yeah, he's setting up visits with teams that we already knew that he was going to be, so it's not really that big of a surprise, but everybody just assumes that next team he's going to go visit, that they're going to take him away from USC in their next year's class. But if there is some weird scenario where that does end up happening and that he is not a Trojan next season, then I guess there is a guy, another local guy from that school, Corona Centennial. He's a 4-star quarterback in Husan Longstreet, who was when LaRue Zamorano was visiting USC quite a few months ago. I think Husan came with them on that official visit. And even though USC, I don't think they had offered him or anything like that, or even told him to come on the the visit, but he did come along with his buddy, and it kind of worked out because Lincoln Riley, the head coach, was spotted talking with him quite a bit. So I don't know if they're working out something as a just in case if, you know, Lincoln Riley does not get his 5-star quarterback in Lewis. But Longstreet did commit to Texas A&M a couple weeks back, so it's kind of like maybe he did decide to do that just so he's not like leaving the other schools out on a limb waiting for him to decide, and he's not doing that for himself either, just waiting for USC to officially get their guy or not. So he at least has a home for now, but there may be a possibility down the road if Lewis decides to go to somewhere else that maybe they go after the local guy in Longstreet, which would be pretty interesting in my opinion. So yeah, looking forward to that. And there's another local, even more local, Corona High pitcher. He's a right-handed pitcher, does play third base as well. His name is Seth Hernandez. He's one of the top local prospects heading in to that 2025 class. And I just barely saw him because a high school highlight thing that I watched called Max Preps recently put up how he did in that CFF semifinals. And he did pretty good. I think he had a home run, and they're able to win. And now they're going to be in the CIF finals pretty soon, which is pretty cool. Because usually, when it comes to my alma mater, Corona High, there's not that many, you know, well-known athletes that come out of there, which is pretty crazy because they have all these updated like fields and practice facilities and basketball courts and all that stuff, and yet they don't get the main guys. It's kind of usually Centennial, the ones that get it, as we talked about a couple of guys from that school, but this guy is definitely championing some of the better guys. I think even when the history of Corona High, the baseball team has had some guys here and there. I think Joe Kelly, who has pitched for the Dodgers in recent history, did go to Corona High right before I did. So that's probably the more recent guy, but this guy looks like he's going to be a little bit more of a well-known prospect, especially when it comes to next season. And I did see that he was already committed to Vanderbilt, which is a pretty good school when it comes to college baseball. They're usually in the Final Four and in the thick of it of winning the tournament, so not surprised about that. So he did garner some really good, you know, some good team to select him pretty much to commit there. But I would hope that he would go to USC once I heard about him, and I was kind of a little bit sad when I heard he was committed to Vanderbilt. Obviously, it's not 100%, so there is still some chance to him to persuade to go somewhere else. But yeah, either way, that'll be pretty cool to see another ex-Corona High baseball player doing some work out there in the MLB pretty soon. An ex-UCLA offensive lineman, Bruno Fina, and an ex-Rice cornerback, Tre'Shon Devonis, have both decided to transfer to go play at Duke, which is pretty good. Obviously, the teams that they're coming from aren't that great, but maybe they're good enough players to add some depth to that team, so we'll see how they do. And I believe, according to Johan Buha of, I think, one of the more local guys who follows the Lakers, did say that JJ Redick, the ex-Duke guy, is pretty much the front runner to be the next Lakers head coach. And kind of didn't think that was surprising after a day later you did hear that the Lakers are consulting with Coach K, obviously the ex-Duke great head coach, and he's involved now with their coaching search. So not that surprising that if JJ Redick's on the top of his list too, but there's also a lot of other guys they were able to get some interviews progressed with. There was the Pelicans assistant coach and James Borrego, another Denver assistant David Adelman, Boston assistant Sam Cassell, Timberwolves assistant Micah Nori, and the Heat assistant as well, Chris Quinn. So yeah, either way, we'll see how this goes. So hopefully they do their homework and get the correct guy. I am just a little bit worried about Redick because it would be literally the first professional, even collegiate thing he's done coaching-wise, but a lot of people have high hopes in him, so we'll see how that goes. And as I mentioned in the other video, that the Lakers will be interested in Donovan Mitchell. Obviously, a lot of stuff has to happen. I know he is up for like some type of extension on his contract starting this summer after the season's over and after tonight. Cleveland did lose to Boston, so it's already kind of now on some type of ticking clock, but it looks like if he doesn't end up wanting to sign up for more years with Cleveland, then they're going to have to do the most likely thing is to try to trade him while he still has value. And obviously the Lakers would want to be one of those front runner teams to do that because, as we mentioned before, they have quite a bit of assets to do that. But, you know, when it comes to a bunch of other stuff, like when it came to like Austin Reeves being involved in certain deals, they would only want to trade him for like a bona fide all-star, and obviously Mitchell meets that criteria, but I know they probably would have had DeJounte Murray on their team this last couple of months if they would have made the trade at the trade deadline involving Reeves, but they did not. Now maybe you do this for, you know, one of the better guards out there to trade away one of your newer up-and-coming guys, and probably still have to trade away a couple of other dudes on your team, but kind of got the mock trade machine in my head going and on fanspo.com as well. And even in this trade, I don't even have the Lakers getting Donovan Mitchell because I believe I kind of talked about that in the most recent video, but I do have them getting pretty good near all-star type of player, which obviously they would have to give up Reeves in this situation, but I think they still get back a really good player to help out alongside both LeBron and AD, and eventually Anthony Davis as well in the future. So in this scenario, the Lakers do get Mikal Bridges from the Nets and Dorian Finney-Smith from the Nets as well. Cavaliers get Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves, Jalen Hood-Schifino, one of the Nets' future first-round picks, and the Lakers' 2029 first-round pick. Nets get Donovan Mitchell, Gorgeous Niang from Cleveland. The Lakers send Jackson Hayes if he picks up his player option to the Nets as well. And then the Lakers will send their more recent pick, which is most likely going to be this 2024 first round pick, because they probably could and maybe want something else. But I just think in this scenario where the better team in Cleveland is losing Mitchell to the Nets and not to the Lakers, it kind of makes it a little bit easier to have the Lakers not give up 3 first-round picks, which they most likely would have to if it was just going to be them two trading and them not adding a third team. But Mikal Bridges is one of those better players. He has sort of been given the spotlight in Brooklyn, but he kind of seems more like he's a better 2 guy, but definitely better as a third star type of player compared to having all the weight on his shoulders as of right now in his career. But once eventually LeBron decides to retire, which could be the next season or two, then he's going to be paired up with Anthony Davis, and that could be a pretty good duo the rest of the foreseeable future, in my opinion. And you get a nice shooter, a tall defensive guy in Dorian Finney-Smith as well. You lose a couple of draft picks and basically another draft pick, last year's first round pick in Hood-Schifino. But either way, I still think the Lakers upgrade in this scenario. And there's obviously other things that could go down and other stars that are unhappy that the Lakers could package up their trades, their first round picks to trade for. But either way, we'll see where this goes. It's going to be a long, tumultuous, crazy summer for the Lakers. Obviously, they have to get their head coach sorted out. Let's do that first before we try to get any big-time all-star type of trade to go on. I'd prefer if they go after like a smaller thing where they get 2 guys from a team that can help you out, and it's a bit cheaper too, or you know, something else compared to giving up all your first round picks, especially in the future, to get 1 star who might not be all that good for the next couple of years after that, like a Trae Young. So yes, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.